Hey pioneers, and welcome back. On our last video, we set to fix our power deficit. We plopped some machines, some more machines, and another little bit of machines. And after some time, we got an amazing power plant that doesn't produce that much, but it produces all that we need to continue to progress in the game until we go nuclear. So now let's spend all of that power in irresponsible ways. Back in the desert, we are in front of our brand new power plant. And now that we have power, let's start using it. I will do a factory I wanted to do for some time now that won't improve my progress in the game at all, but what's the deal? Right now, my only weapon is a candy cane. And when I go out exploring and I get killed by a big spider, I'm stubborn. I won't let the big spider win. So I will respawn, sometimes several times until I kill it, and no, that can't stay like that. So today we will be doing a weapons factory. So let's go and design it. Check out this beautiful mess. Anyway, I came through an issue that I didn't know it existed, but I don't know what's happening with Satisfactory modeler. If I start placing more machines, one will take 5 seconds, the other one will take 10, the other one will take 30, and then it crashes, it stays there forever. It's like there's a limit to what you can design, and I've seen people with huge factories on this program. So I don't know what happened, but I don't have the full diagram over here. This module is designed in another file. This module is also designed in another file. And while this one that's small, we have it right here because it's only a couple of constructors. But I literally can't place more machine. It just goes nuts. So that was uncomfortable. But well, we have our diagram. What am I doing? For each ammo, I'm doing 5 of each. Rebars, I'm doing 5 of each. And nobelisks, I'm doing 2 of each. Then, as I want to, when I finish the game, have every single material automated, I'm also sending some smokeless powder and some black powder to the dimensional depot. So this would be the main diagram. Now we can check the electronics part. There's nothing weird over here. I had to use dimensional depots. This says to main factory. This would connect to the other diagram. I couldn't find a better way of doing it. But all these numbers, 25, 0.4, 3.5, and 0.5 are the ones required by the other diagram. So far, so good. But it gets really messy with the oil segment. Yes, it is a mess. But what's the deal? We actually only need this part over here, this 25, 25.33 and 0.3. But if we did this, we would only be using 18 heavy oil residue, that I think it was something like 20 oil. And I'm not connecting an oil extractor and taking a pipe on a desert to only use 20. So I said, let's use all of it. And that's where the mess starts. So my remaining 180 heavy oil residue, I will turn it into fuel. And my remaining 100 polymer resin, I will turn it into rubber. And then I will double this rubber to make plastic, double these plastics to make rubber, and double this rubber to make more plastic. And we end up with almost 400 plastic. And as I already had fuel and I already had turbo fuel, I decided to package a little bit and send it, this says, to an actual dimensional depot. It's not the main factory because, yeah, I want to automate every single item and I didn't had package turbo fuel, for example, on my dimensional depot. So I will be sending 5 and also 11.42 fuel to my actual dimensional depot. We are creating plastic so I can make my own empty canisters. And yes, this ended up being a huge factory. And most of the machines are doing plastic, are not doing weapons. But well, shit, that happens. I'm happy with the design. It will be really hard from a fluid dynamics point of view. So far, I've never done something like this. For example, we've got 5 refineries, and I need to take 6 to a machine, 12 to 2 machines, and 180 to 4 blenders, or maybe 8. Doing that kind of divisions might bring fluid dynamic issues. But, well, I want to use all of the oil, and that's what you get for being weird. So, let's go. Decided to start for the hardest part, all of the fluids. So I did the same thing that we did for our power plant. I'm taking one impure node through this column that I had already prepared and taking it through the railway back to the desert. Here in the desert, this is the new pipe, and I raised it as much as I could. We will be building the factory here. Anyway, I don't think it will fit, so maybe we'll have to expand to the other sides. But I want to start from the highest point I can. This is to avoid fluid dynamic issues, because if you do a top-down design, the height itself will be applying pressure to the lower levels, so it's less likely that you have problems. It doesn't mean that you won't have, but let's try to avoid them as much as we can. So our first stage is 5 refineries that are taking most of their contents to some blenders and just a tiny amount to what we actually need. So I was thinking, let's do 6 and spread them out. One of those 6 refineries will go for the weapon factory itself and will be really underclocked, and the other 5 refineries will go for the fuel. So we have 5 refineries with one clock and 1 refinery with the other. And yeah, we'll do it as high as we can, and then it will start going down. Let's see how it goes. I probably spent more time than I should have trying to do this a proper way, and there isn't. So what I've said so far, it doesn't count. I made some slight changes around all of the diagram and how I'm going to try to do this. So basically, I want to have it as balanced as I can, and you can't balance all of it. So I chose one stage, the fuel stage. What do I mean by balanced? Now we have separate machines over here, each one of them feeding a separate segment. So this is really good for fluid dynamics. But because of the numbers we were having, balancing this means that we are severely unbalanced some other things. Specifically the main stage, this heavy oil residue, is a mess. So this is what I've come up with. The first stage, the refineries that are doing the heavy oil residue, at the end they are all clocked at the same rate, and this is how I'm feeding them. That it's not ideal, but trust me, it gets worse. Anyway, I'm feeding it from the middle, and there's a gap on height. So it should kind of work. But then, what I'm doing with this heavy oil residue, I'm merging all of it into one pipe. This is really bad practice. I usually try to avoid this through factory design, but there was no design that was helping me from that. So what I did to try to prevent some issues, I raised all of the pipes a little bit, and then they get merged below. What we are trying to avoid is, for example, heavy oil residue of this refinery going all the way up here and climbing that way, because we don't want refineries competing against one another. So and that one is not even straight. Well, I'll fix that later. So by doing that, we are hoping that gravity will help us merge all of the heavy oil residue displays, and they won't have issues with one another. And then we will be relying on gravity. This goes down and gets split into 2, where we have 5 blenders over here. Again, I'm feeding them from the middle, but the thing is that they are not at the same rate. We have on the middle the one that's at the lowest rate. That's good. But then I think that those 2 are at 100%. that one is at 100% and that's below 100% or something like that. Well, I could check. This is the one that's below 100%. All of the rest are at 100. So there might be issues over here balancing the heavy oil residue, but I'm hoping that Newton didn't lie to us and that gravity will do the trick. And as all of this is going down, the heavy oil residue should spread. And on the other side, we have the 3 refineries. Again, not connected in the ideal way, but these ones aren't that bad because I have in the middle one that it's extremely underclocked. So as this has lower resistance, this will fill up first and then it will start spreading to the sides, and both of the sides are clocked at the same rate, 63 and 63. So I did the best I could with what I had. The design isn't good regarding fluid dynamics. Anyway, I always exaggerate a lot. It might work. If this is the first time you tune into my channel, why am I worrying this much? I'm going for a full efficiency world. Over here, every machine works at 100% non-stop. And that's usually easy to achieve, but when there are fluids involved, it's a little bit harder. It can get to 98 or 99, and I want all of them at 100%. But well, this is the best I could, and I really hope I don't break my world, because I'm capable of dismantling the whole factory if it's not working at 100%. But well, we'll see how it goes. Let's continue with this. Okay, so I've made some stuff. Well, I added these frame foundations. This is not really decoration. I will do it differently. But this is just to remind me to save that space, because on my last build I didn't do that and it was quite chaotic when I had to decorate. So yeah, there are some kind of decorations that will be removed, but that makes me save the space. So what have I added? All of these blenders require water. We will be packaging and unpackaging the water. So I made this level over here with all of the water unpackagers. Now, all of these require, well, not all of these, but most of them, a different amount of water. So this over here is not load balance. But it's also not a manifold, because my world is manifold free. I'm not placing manifolds. But it's also not a smart manifold. It's something in the middle. It's made by smart splitters, trying to prioritize the ones that require the least amount of packaged water first, so it will start up faster than a manifold. And you can say that it's kind of a manifold, but well, that's philosophical debate. So we have all of these water unpackagers, unpackaging water from the blenders, and then I merge all of the, well, not all of the polymer resin, now that I realize. Now it's done. I'm merging all of the polymer resin from the heavy oil residue module, and I'm taking it to these 3 new refineries. Those 3 that are doing our initial rubber that will be doubled and doubled and doubled. And these machines also need water, so I placed this platform over here, also with some water unpackagers. And yes, these are load balanced because they require exactly the same amount, so it's easy. Now, the packaged water from this segment is divided by this smart splitter with the one of that segment, and as usual it's prioritizing first the module that requires the least, so not a manifold. And well, I placed that fancy floor hole that's kind of weird, but it takes the materials here on the top of my belt bus. And the same way, the empty canisters from this module are being merged with the empty canisters from that module and are taken through this lift this way. So we end up with 2 belts for packaged water and empty canisters that will be going to that creek. that there's no more space for water extractors, but I decided I'm packaging there, so it will be a challenge. Bad problem for future Nico. A lot of progress has been made, but I think I'm like at 10% of this factory. I didn't know it would get this complex. Maybe it will end up being in 2 videos. I hope not 3. But well, let's continue. I don't know with what. I'm not doing it an organized way, because this project is a nightmare, but I'm having fun, a lot of fun. So let's add some stuff. I might have gotten a little bit overexcited and did a lot in a row. But well, what have I added? The main thing is all of our doublers, that would be these refineries on both sides. And from this point onwards, everything is balanced, meaning each of these refineries, at least the ones that are grouped, for example, these 4 refineries are a group, they are all clocked at the same rate and fed by only one blender. These 2 over here are also clocked at the same rate, fed by one blender, and these 8 are clocked at the same rate and only fed by one blender. So now we are doing safe fluid dynamics. And I connected them, as I explained on my last video, considering pipe resistance. So the path from any of these refineries up to the blender that's feeding it, it's exactly the same. And that's good, it's safe. So let's start breaking this a little bit down. We start from autosave. This segment over here. These 3 refineries are doing our initial rubber. A total of 50 because we have 3 refineries. So that rubber comes over here, it gets merged, and it does a crazy loop. All the way, we go over here, over there, to these 2 refineries that are our first doubler. That should be taking the rubber and turning it into plastic. Yep. So that plastic gets merged over here and gets sent to our second doubler. That now are 4 refineries that should be making rubber out of plastic. Yeah, so far so good. Now all of that plastic I said? All of that rubber gets merged over here on the top and gets sent to the other doubler on the other side. This is a huge load balancer, but here we can see that it's feeding these 8 refineries. Finally, all of the plastic, it's over here and it gets merged even higher and sent to the middle over here. This is a smart splitter that's sending everything to this constructor that creates the empty canisters that we are going to need to package our fuels. And I always prioritize the path that consumes the least. We have 400 plastic, we are only sending 8, so yeah, this will have a really easy fast startup. And the overflow for the time being is sent in a sink. So if in the future I want to use this plastic, I would need to add another smart splitter over here and send any, I don't know, to this side and the overflow to the sink. So this would be my plastic output. But well, for the time being, we are sinking all of it. Then, well, these empty canisters are going to this packager that's fed by only one blender, the one that's extremely underclocked, and here we are getting our packaged fuel. And we have here, it would be over here, sorry, a smart splitter, so we are sending everything to a container with a dimensional depot, and we are sending the overflow to the same sink. And on the other side, this refinery in the middle was creating our turbo fuel, so I'm packaging it over here, and it gets sent through these two bolts back to the madness I've just created. And we can see that this is the turbo fuel. It gets high. Turbo fuel over here, and we have this smart splitter sending everything to our depot and sending the overflow to our sink. So, and yes, there might be some minor things that I didn't mention, but this would be the whole oil segment for a weapons factory, which basically makes plastic. There were a couple more machines I needed to add. These ones that we are creating the black powder. I think this is also black powder. And the compacted coal, the little compacted coal, we need to create our turbo fuel. And the black powder is going to the other refineries that are doing the smokeless powder. And I also need black powder for the rest of the factory, so I would have to place a splitter over here and take the materials. So yeah, a lot of progress, and I'm loving it. It's looking pretty fancy. I really hope it works, because if this doesn't work, Nico will be sad. The first stage of the liquids is pretty risky. But well, let's continue. Having finished all of the oil segment, we will continue with the small electronics part that I think we could fit somewhere around this place. We didn't have that many machines. Let's go. I actually thought it would be more complex than this. It was just a couple of machines. Compared to that madness, this was done in a couple of minutes. Well, maybe more than a couple. 3, 4? So we start over here. We have our two constructors that are making quick wire and copper sheets. That these will probably be connected to the belt bus over there, but I handle all of the inputs on later on, not right now. So for the time being, we have two happy constructors. Then we have one assembler that creates circuit boards and one that creates AI limiters, and this is already fed. And we finally have the two lonely manufacturers that do our high-speed connectors and our crystal oscillators. In the case of crystal oscillators, both rubber and AI limiters, both rubber and quartz crystals are inputs that are coming from our train station. I could have taken the rubber from that stage, but well, I didn't. So that's why they aren't connected. They will also go to the belt bus. That will get pretty messy because I'm planning to send a lot of stuff there. And on the other hand, we have this manufacturer that needs quick wire that comes from our quick wire constructor, circuit boards that come from our circuit board assembler, and finally silica. Silica is also an input that will be connected to the belt bus. Ooh, what have I done? Did I? Yes, I broke something. Well, doesn't matter. It will be connected over there. And this silica is also spread through a smart splitter to one of the assemblers that needed it. So that kind of wraps all of our electronics part. I was expecting something harder. But well, this one is done. I now just have to fix what I have just broken. So, for the sake of keeping the video short, I will be wrapping this one right here. A lot of progress has been made. We finished with all of the oil, we finished with all of the electronics, and now we only need the main factory, which is not that complex. It will be harder just to connect all of this madness to that segment of the factory and to the raw inputs that come from the train station. But I think a lot of progress has been made, and I'm loving how it looks. I have never done a mega factory in my life, and I think that so far it's it's pretty nice. It's not the same thing copied and pasted. It has its own style, its own vibe. So well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please try to support the channel just by a like or a comment. The views are dropping. I'm getting less views with each video. And I would like to know what am I doing wrong. So any type of feedback really helps. And even if you don't know what to comment, let's get you to comment something. Just tell me what's your favorite sport, either to watch or to play. I was born in Argentina, so that's a silly question for Argentinians. It's football for me, and not American football, the one that Messi plays. Not only for watching, but for playing, I think it's extremely fun. But well, now I'm living in Australia, and here in Australia people love cricket. Cricket! I don't consider that a sport. And I think that I might have offended half of the worldwide population. I know that on this hemisphere, is it called hemisphere, right and left? Or, well, I don't know. On the east side of the world, cricket is really popular. I will never understand it. But well, how about you? I hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you on the next one.